is the fastest gear. A little harder, but still not bad. I never clean. I was getting so tired of stepping over things. I had the biochar machine right here and a pallet of Satcrete and all kinds of other crap. But it's good now. So I just cut these three pieces. You got a train tracker. This will be a stiffener that I weld to it. And then on the back, this is the mount. I got a little piece of tube welded to it for a spacer. This is gonna go right in here. And the idea is it's gonna act as a tracker to align the chain with the sprocket before it gets there. Worst part about TIG welding. Imagine if you're good, you don't got to worry about it. You can't touch the tip to the steel. Because every time you do, you get to take it out and regrind it. And man, does that get old. And again. Thanks to Mr. Jethro Johnson. We have an axle now. Everything looks in pretty good shape in there, and I gotta lock the diff, basically get rid of the differential and just have a solid shaft and key it to the planetary gear. Shaft is done. Coupler's on. I gotta cut some keyways in this, some big 1/2-inch keyways. I also cut some spacers of various sizes. I'm probably gonna need all of them. And a keeper for those big keyways. If you want to see where I got this idea, go to there'll be a link in the description, Dock Locker 2.0. There's a guy who did a lock without welding, and I chose to sort of mimic that. It's done. It's in. It turns. The keys are just a little tight, but I can spin it by hand. And so if there's any little issue, it'll wear in. Hopefully I don't have to crack into it again. Alright, the good news is I'm getting better at welding, TIG. Bad news is I still suck. But I'm getting better. And they will go right on this shaft on the bearings. There's going to be a plate on here. This thing will slide right on, flush with the end of the shaft. Same gig here. There you have it. Can you see it? We're about as square as we're going to get. I've got clamps and crap all hooked to it. This is where a welding table would be real nice. So there's the tensioner, direction switcher. I got to put another set of pulleys right here to keep this from having to stretch so far. I got that setup put together, what you just saw, and I thought I filmed it, but I guess I didn't. I tried it out and those belts didn't grab at all, or the pulleys didn't grab the belt at all. Didn't matter how hard, how much whammy I put on it, I could not get it to move. So that was a couple months ago that I filmed that, or a month at least. And I've been redesigning, rebuilding. I came up with a plan B, ordered a bunch of parts, and before I even got the parts in, realized that probably wasn't going to work either, so I came up with plan C. Luckily I was able to use the parts from plan B for plan C, and then buy a whole bunch of other crap to finish it out. Now it works. So now I basically have an entire transmission on both sides. I didn't film any of that because it's all the same stuff that I did with the first go around. It's just a different configuration and much more complicated. We're going to go through it right now. So I don't know if you can see this. We've got lots of belts, lots of stuff in here. So basically I have two sets of belts on each side. One of them is for the forward direction, one of them is for the reverse. All three of the belts run on the axle. I've got three, it's a 3-wide pulley with a spacer. So you have your drive sprocket, it's just the same as last time. It goes up here to a single sprocket that's hooked to a gear, which you can't see, but there's a little gear in there. And then it goes to this gear so that this axle, this side drives in reverse when this is going forward. So it's always driving, it's always running in reverse. This side is hooked with a sprocket, 2 sprockets. There's one, can you see that? Yeah, there's one there, and there's another one on there. So when it rotates the same direction that the transaxle's going. So at any given time, these two are going in opposite directions. See if we can do a test run here. See it in there? So those are going in opposite directions. I'm obviously hooked up on something all the time. Now what that allows me to do is I'm going to have a pivot point up here. And these two things are going to be attached to it, and they'll move separate. I got to do a little shaving there to get that cleared, but they'll be able to move independently. And if I want to go in reverse, that one's forward, this one's loose, and it'll go in reverse if I want to run forward, and then I can do the same. I can have this one going in reverse, that one going forward, get my 0 turn action. The nice thing about this is, and I'm going back to levers because I was going to use the steering wheel, but now I'm going back to levers because this will basically function just like a skid steer. You got 2 levers. If you want to go reverse, you don't have to switch gears like you do in a riding lawnmower. You just pull backwards on both the joysticks and you're going reverse. Once I realized that, yeah, it was on. That was going to be the way it's going to happen. One other thing I did that's probably the biggest improvement. I don't know if I mentioned the conveyor chain before. I built the chain originally off the torch, cut all the chain link plates and bolted it all together, and it was real clunky. You saw in the last video it rolled nice, decent, but it was clunky. I bought the conveyor chain, totally rebuilt the chains, and it's night and day. This whole apparatus, this whole thing moves easier now than it did when it was just one track, and just one track does. It's just so easy to move. And that's what I gotta have, because I was not thinking it was gonna be very good on that transaxle. The other thing I was able to do was remove those guide plates, those hourglass shaped guide plates that I had in the tracks. Those were creating a bunch of friction. And now that I have these good chains on here, I don't need them. I'm going to put regular rollers in the bottom like I was originally, and that should add very little friction and keep the chain in line. Even though I don't think it really needs it, it stays in line pretty good. Alright, that's the slowest gear. This is the fastest gear. A little harder, but still not bad. It really doesn't take much whammy at all. Okay, so we're still, sprocket's still going forward, same direction. That fell off. That's the other nice thing, is it'll almost move with one. It will move with one. We're moving forward now. I don't even care. We're moving forward. This thing's ready to go. I've got this all set up. I'm going to build the mounts for the body, get it on there, build the steering linkage, drive linkage, I guess. I guess it is steering, theoretically. And hopefully have a working unit here shortly. Stay tuned. We'll see.